Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Whitley and we are starting another reading vlog today. It is my birthday week. It is also Thanksgiving week, but that's secondary. It is my birthday week. And as a little birthday gift to myself, I'm going to treat myself by picking up some of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. I have my eye on like 4 or 5 things, but realistically, I am only going to be able to get to like max of 3. So my priorities for the week. First and foremost, we have Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I read Bride earlier this year and absolutely loved it. I have been not so patiently waiting for this sequel and have just been waiting for the time that I could pick it up. This follows the relationship of 2 of the characters that we actually met in Bride. We're following Cohen, who is the rugged, older, asshole alpha of the neighboring pack, and Serena, who is a human that was raised with Misery, who is our protagonist in Bride. She is a vampire. They grew up together. They are best friends. They are sisters. But now that Misery has kind of, calmed down, she is married now. She has her own life. Serena is really left to kind of fend for herself and start this new chapter of her life. I really enjoyed Serena's character in the first book, so I am really looking forward to getting into more of her story and her past, especially after the revelation that we got at the end of Bride about kind of who Serena is. I'm excited to see how she acclimates to this new chapter of her life, all while being mated to this very powerful, very dominant alpha. I will also 100% be picking up Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. I read Don't Let the Forest In earlier this year as well and absolutely fell in love with this author's writing. I was obsessed with this book, so when I heard that she was coming out with another book at the end of the year, I knew I had to immediately pick it up. This is another standalone about 2 young boys who are maybe surrounded by deadly fauna and possibly unexpressed feelings for each other. Except in contrast of Don't Let the Forest In, these 2 boys are not friends. One of them actually tried to kill the other one, so they are not allowed near each other, but that is not going to stop the feelings that our main character, Evander, is feeling. I mean, who doesn't love an enemies to lovers romance? And what gets more enemies than trying to kill each other? This author's writing was just so gorgeous, so lush, so rich, so vivid. It was so poetic, and the descriptions were done in such like a gruesome way, but it was done so beautifully. I cannot wait to dig back into this author's prose and hopefully get completely enraptured by another story of 2 troubled young boys. Lastly, if I have time, I would also love to fit in Travis Baldry's new book, which is Brigands and Bread Knives. I honestly don't know anything about this book other than it does take place in the same world as Legends and Lattes, and it doesn't follow the main character that our previous 2 books followed, which was Viv the Orc. But Travis Baldry has not missed for me so far. Granted, I've only read the 2 books, but they were both 5 stars, phenomenal. So anything in this world, anything by Travis Baldry, I feel like I'm just going to eat up. I am so excited for his newest release. Along with reading some very anticipated books, I also plan to maybe visit a bookstore or 2, maybe go grab, there is this adorable little cafe. It's about like an hour away from me, but it is the cutest little gothic coffee shop bookstore, and it is one of my favorite places to visit. So I may make the trek to go visit there on my birthday, and then we're gonna go have dinner, maybe go to Universal City Walk, get me a voodoo donut. If you are ever in Orlando, Florida, you have to go to City Walk and get a voodoo donut. If you like donuts, unmatched. So I always go get a voodoo donut for my birthday ever since I've moved on here. So that is the tentative birthday plans as of right now. Read some amazing books, get some phenomenal food, and just hang out for the week. So if any of that interests you, be sure to stay tuned and let's get into the first book. Hello friends, I have gotten quite a good chunk of this read. I am on page 170. I'm on chapter 15 and I am loving this so far. At the end of Bride, we see Cohen, who is the alpha of the Northwest Pack, whereas in the first book we have spent most of our time in the Southwest Pack. Cohen is the alpha of the Northwest, and him and Serena meet for the first time, and when they lock eyes, he knows. It hits him right in the face, right in the heart, that that is his mate. There are some pretty big revelations made about Serena at the end of Bride, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I truly believe that even the synopsis of this book is a spoiler if you have not read Bride. I didn't realize it, and halfway through reading Bride, I actually found out that, oh, there's going to be a sequel. So what do? I Google it to see, oh, what's it going to be about? And I read the synopsis. And I'm just like totally spoiled for the second half of Bride. I was not pleased, but I mean, I guess it's my fault for Googling the second book when I hadn't even finished the first one. But if you haven't read Bride, there will be no spoilers for either book in this. I will try not to specifically reference the revelation that we had at the end of Bride, but I mean, since this is Serena's story, granted it is part of the synopsis, but it is such an integral part of this story. So I guess we'll see. I am going to reference kind of like who she is. And if you've read Bride or read Mate, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, then you'll have to read Bride to find out. So in this, we are following Serena. She is really just trying to acclimate to her new life, but she's kind of put a target on her back when she has gone on national television and confirmed who she is to try to bring together an alliance between the humans, the werewolves, and the vampires. Even though Cohen is vastly against it, even Misery, her best friend and sister, and Lo, who is Misery's husband, they all think this is a terrible idea and it is only going to end with her put in danger. But she does it anyway because she thinks that it is worth the sacrifice of trying to bring about this alliance between the races. But it turns out, of course, they were right. This has put a huge target on her back. Being a one of a kind does make her a very hot commodity. Some want to kill her because they do not want this alliance between the races, and most other people want to kidnap her to try to do tests on her and see if her genetic makeup can be duplicated to see if they can make more of her. Cohen has been keeping his distance since the events of Bride. The first few chapters do flip back and forth between kind of the immediate follow-up to Bride and versus present day, which is like 4 or 5 months later. Cohen does end up telling Serena that she is his mate, but he very much downplays kind of what that means. And of course, Serena is new to this world, so she doesn't really understand the culture and what the mate bond really means. So she's just like, okay, this guy just, wants to have sex with me. But he even tells her, like, the parts of me that matter do not want you. Which, I mean, Serena is fine with at first. I mean, she does admit that even though there's something about Cohen that she feels very safe and just right in his presence, that, I mean, he is a stranger, so it's understandable that, even though she is his mate, that it's just a physiological feeling, not necessarily emotional. But even though they both say that, it doesn't matter what the other one thinks of them, they are just so drawn to each other. And I really do love the yearning. But on the other hand, this book is also doing something that kind of annoyed me in Bride. It's the avoidance, the self-inflicted pain of denying your mate just seems to be a common theme among these werewolves. So sorry if the angle or the lighting or anything looks weird all of a sudden. I realized that I stopped recording again out of nowhere. So I had to come back and finish up what I was saying. Where was I? Oh yes. I was saying that it's just kind of annoying how in both of these books, the alphas are like pushing their mates away. Like, you clearly like her. Why are you doing this to yourself? And now caught back up with present day, Serena asks if there's a place that she can just kind of go to lay low for a little bit after all of the publicity of, being on this talk show and being all anyone is talking about. She claims that she just needs some alone time, but when a bounty hunter shows up and tries to capture her, narrowly being rescued by Cohen Cohen is like, no. He refuses to entertain her loner behavior anymore. He ends up taking her back to his territory where their feelings really start to blossom and develop. Even though Cohen does a hell of a job at acting like he does not care, this man's actions tell us a very different story. An example of this that I absolutely loved and just ate up was, so Serena had to leave her little lonesome cabin that she was staying in very quickly because this bounty hunter did show up. So Cohen had to take her to the store to get some of her necessities. And she was honestly just having a good time, you know, walking around feeling normal for once. Just enjoying the mundanity of the shopping trip. And she is obviously getting what she needs, but she's also like taking her time, sniffing candles, feeling blankets, you know, just admiring random things. And she only ends up getting what she absolutely needs. But turns out Cohen had been watching her the whole time and went behind her and picked up every single thing that she stopped and looked at and admired. So when she gets home, she finds just shopping bags full of what she wanted at the store. And I just thought that was so adorable. He is very different from Lo, who was our love interest in the first book. Lo was very level-headed, you know, quite romantic, a little bit more like meek and kind for an alpha. Whereas Cohen, contrary to my previous statement, is kind of an asshole. He is like just this side of rude. He is very guarded, very standoffish. He deflects a lot with his like humor and sarcasm. His snarkiness is pretty funny most of the time, and Serena doesn't seem to mind his smart mouth, so who am I to? I really am enjoying the tension, and their like sarcastic, witty banter between each other is so good. They're honestly adorable together. And I just don't know why Cohen is downplaying and lying to Serena about how deep the mate bond goes. Like, he's not even giving her the option to make the choice to choose him. I mean, there's even been a couple of instances where Serena, not necessarily emotionally, but has physically kind of come on to him to show him like, hey, she is interested, but every single time he point blank shuts it down, says, I am not interested. And we know he is. Like, it's clear to see that he is, which just is a little frustrating. And Serena is keeping this like massive secret. She has something going on with her, and she has not told anybody other than her doctor. But everybody in her life has no idea that something is going on with her. But I am so excited for Cohen to find out, because he is going to lose his mind, and I am so excited. It is going to be delicious. He's going to go all protective. He may even like show some feelings and get a little scared for her. And I cannot wait. There is also this mystery surrounding something that happened in Cohen's pack like decades ago when Cohen was younger, and Serena is putting her journalist cap on and trying to figure out what went down in this pack. And then Serena also has a little bit of a mystery herself, where we are trying to figure out, you know, her parentage and where she came from. She does not have any memory of her life before she ended up in a human orphanage when she was like 5 or 6. So everyone is, you know, trying to find out where she came from and how she got to be who she is. So not only am I really enjoying the romance, but there is also some mystery and intrigue, and I'm so invested to find out what happened in both of our characters' pasts and more about this world. I just love Ali Hazelwood's writing so much. Like, she does characters so well. Even the side characters are so much fun to read about. I'm really enjoying just seeing some of the, you know, just day-to-day werewolf activities being in Cohen's territory and surrounded by his people. I am just loving being back in this world and being back with Miss Ali Hazelwood, and I cannot wait to continue. Hello, friends. So I did manage to get to page 280 last night. I had to stop at such a spicy scene. It was so sad, but I was so tired. I could not read anymore. But I do want to let you know that we did get an explanation of why Cohen was so vehemently pushing Serena away. And I mean, it does make sense, but it also makes me sad. Like, it makes sense, but I'm not happy about it. And having this knowledge in the back of our heads of why Cohen has been pushing her away and not allowing himself to kind of opened himself up to her. I don't know, it just, like, it makes sense. So it's like, I also kind of don't want it to happen. Like, I obviously want it to happen, but I don't know, it feels like kind of a betrayal if he does go through with it and lets his guard down completely and, lets himself be physical with Serena. So I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it, but it is what it is at the moment. Serena's secret that she was keeping from everybody also took quite the turn. Was not expecting that to be what was wrong with her, but I don't know what I expected. I mean, I should have known that something like this was going to pop up in an Omegaverse werewolf story. I like what it's led to, but I'm not 100% sure that I love how we got here to these spicy scenes. Like, I'm loving that it's happening, but I'm not 100% sure that I love that this is the reason that we're here. Not necessarily because of their feelings. I mean, I'm sure that that is playing a part in it, but we're not here because they have chosen to get closer to each other and because they have let those guards down. Even though we are on our way to getting there, they are here because of what is happening with Serena. That is why we are getting spicy scenes. I mean, Serena and Cohen are definitely growing closer together, and it is so cute to see. You can absolutely tell that both of their restraints are wavering day by day, especially Cohen's. And like I said, I did have to stop right before I knew some spicy scenes were gonna start, but we did get one. I did get one last night, and gosh, Miss Allie can just write spice. Her spicy scenes are so good. And the one I read, Cohen like barely touches her. So I cannot wait until the restraint breaks and this tension is just unleashed. I am still really enjoying my time with this. We are starting to uncover a little bit more about maybe where Serena came from, and it could possibly be connected with what happened with Cohen's pack 2 decades ago. And this girl has really been tossed through the ringer these last few days. Like, it's crazy to think that I am almost 300 pages in, and other than the few flashbacks that we've gotten, this has all taken place within like 3 or 4 days. It has been very fast paced. I have not wanted to put this book down since I started it. And if I am going to be a little critical, like some of the, I love his nickname Killer for her, but like some of the little, I don't know, nicknames that Cohen gives some of the bad guys at the beginning really was just like, really? Like, a lot of Allie Hazelwood's humor does hit, like it is good, but some of it is just like, I don't know. I've heard it described as very millennial humor, which, I mean, as a millennial, I'm not sure I agree with. So even though, a lot of the humor of Allie's does hit, I do have to admit that some of it is a little like eye-rolly. But overall, really enjoying my time. I cannot wait to get back into it. I have no doubt that I should be able to finish this up today. I only have about 150 pages left, a little over. So I'm going to dig back into this, and I will check back in when I have finished this baby up. Hello friends, I have finished Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I really enjoyed this. Maybe not quite as much as Bride, but I had such a fun time. Cohen just wanted her so bad, but the fact that he would throw away everything and discard anyone for her was the very reason that he would not allow himself to have her. He just would not allow himself to be that selfish when there are so many people depending on him. Like, to him, being an alpha truly meant that he did not belong to himself. Like, he belonged to his pack. And if that is not heartbreaking, I don't know what is. Mix that with the actual conflict of why there's a couple reasons that they couldn't and shouldn't be together, but like the main conflict of why they couldn't be together mixed with just this internal struggle of his was just so tense and so heartbreaking to see, but it was so good. With saying all of that, I do kind of wish that we would have gotten a little bit more emotional and like relationship development. It felt like it went so quickly from I want nothing to do with you to I want to do nothing but rip your clothes off to I am in love with you. And it just felt like there was very few things in between each of those steps. And at some points, it did kind of feel like this mate bond was kind of the only thing holding their relationship together. Like, if they weren't mates, I'm not sure that they would have stayed together. I don't know, it just kind of felt like the mate bond was kind of the only thing drawing them together. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I just wish there would have been a little bit more like emotional connection. They were still really cute though. I mean, it had like my heart fluttering a couple times, and I underlined the heck out of this book. I really enjoyed it. I really liked both of our main characters. I liked Cohen's sarcasm. He was so loyal, and he was just like so broody and curmudgeony to every single person, even Serena most of the time. And it was just really funny. And the fact that this man did not need to use words, like no words were needed for us to understand how much he cared about Serena. Like, his actions, both big and small, conveyed his real feelings. And even though this man didn't need words, I loved the little chapter header. So at the beginning of every chapter, there is a little snippet of something from Cohen's perspective, and I just loved getting those little glimpses into his head. I really liked Serena's humor. I liked that she was not afraid to like stand up and question Cohen, even though he is the alpha. Her not wanting to like burden her friends and her family with her problems is very relatable. And for someone who has been through so much trauma and is still going through so much, like, she still remains such a sweet and kind and loving person. She is just adorable. All of the side characters were really great too, and I obviously loved getting to see more of the characters that we fell in love with in the first book. I also love seeing Ali like sprinkle in her little nerdy references and scientific explanations and her like $5 words, but she does it in such a way that it doesn't feel like she's like flaunting her PhD to us. I really like that as well. Even when this woman is writing a paranormal romance, like, she cannot get away from the science. It's so cute. And the whole mystery about both Cohen's pack's past and Serena's past was so like fascinatingly intertwined. I really do like the direction that the plot went, although I do feel like the resolution between these two groups ended a little quickly. It felt a bit rushed and abrupt. I know that that wasn't like the main focus of the book, that the romance and these characters were, but I just feel like this clash could have, I don't know, been a little bit more epic. It fell a little flat for me. Overall though, I immensely enjoyed myself. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I would definitely recommend, if you've liked Ali Hazelwood in the past or have read Bride and aren't sure about picking Made Up, I think it is well worth your time. So what a great way to start my birthday week. Sydney and I also went grocery shopping yesterday to pick up everything that we needed for Thanksgiving dinner. I am so excited. Sydney and I are going to be making a homemade apple pie and a homemade pumpkin pie. Oh, I cannot wait. We've had the pumpkin pie before, and I know it is absolutely delicious. We always go to Alton Brown, especially for our dessert recipes. And we've had his pumpkin pie before, but never the apple pie. And it is, of course, for Thanksgiving, but it's also like going to be my birthday cake. I'm not much of a cake person. I much prefer give me a pie, give me a cobbler every time. So we are going to be making some homemade pies in the next day or two. I'm so excited. I love baking. Not so much the cooking part. That's more Sydney's forte, but love the baking. So I am very much looking forward to Thanksgiving, and I am going to start Hazelthorn next. My excitement cannot be contained. I am so excited to get back into C.G. Drew's writing. So I will check back with you when I get a little bit of the way into it and let you know my initial thoughts. Hello, friends. I have started Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. I am on page 124. I'm on chapter 12, and I am enraptured. This author's writing is so immersive and atmospheric, and it is just so beautiful. I mean, as I expected. Their metaphors are just so rich, and they paint such melancholy and menacing images out of such like mundane scenery, and I absolutely love it. An example that I've noticed quite a lot is this author has referenced like dark hallways as this like long menacing throat, and then the doorways are like open maws or mouths, and it really just paints you such a vivid picture. I also really liked this one quote. It says, "The darkness beyond is so thick he could dip his hand in and feel his nightmares ooze between his fingers." Like you could just feel and like imagine that darkness, that oozy darkness. Oh, it's just so good. And these two boys have me in an absolute chokehold. Like they are so heartbreaking, both of them in their very different individual ways. Evander has known nothing but this manor since he was like 10. He is kept very secure under lock and key for both his physical and his mental health. So says his guardian. And there have been instances where this poor boy is treated to be like less than human just because he is autistic. He's a little different, and this boy wants nothing more than to just be normal. But he gets by because at least he has the love and care of his guardian. I think his name's Byron. I can never remember his name. Yes, Byron Lennox Hall. That is until he is seemingly poisoned and passes away right in front of Evander. And to Evander's absolute like shock and horror, Mr. Lennox Hall leaves Evander everything. His money, the estate, it is all left to him. And this obviously does not sit well with Byron's grandson, Laurie. Laurie and Evander used to be best friends. They were raised together. That is until Laurie tried to kill Evander when they were 10. We don't know why or the circumstances surrounding it, but since then they have not been allowed around each other. But now that both of their guardian is gone, there's no one to really uphold that rule anymore. And even though Evander kind of hates Laurie, you know, he's very pompous. He kind of jabs jokes at everyone, even Evander. But there is just something about Laurie that Evander cannot get over. He is obsessed with this boy. And I am so intrigued to find out what really happened that day when Laurie tried to kill Evander, because there is all of this mystery surrounding it. Like Evander has no recollection of the attack or anything before. The last thing he remembers is waking up after his surgery. I don't know, like one part of me is like, there is no way that these two tried to kill each other. Like they are so clearly drawn to each other. They do still kind of pick with each other and like act like they don't like each other, but they so clearly have this bond and connection. And I just can't fathom that Laurie tried to kill him. There has to be something more. Because even though Laurie is, you know, like very pompous, smug, you know, he is on the outside this spoiled, raised in luxury young boy, but he is so heartbreaking in his own way. And even though it does seem like Laurie is kind of warming back up to Evander a little bit and vice versa, Laurie is having none of Evander's little like detective work. He wants nothing to do with trying to find out who murdered his grandfather, and he is also not helping Evander with his memory loss. He is not answering any questions. He's being very evasive. He wants Evander to remember them himself. So I don't know. I'm just so intrigued. There are so many mysteries afoot. Like, what really happened to Byron? Was he poisoned? And why was his last breath used to warn Evander to stay out of the garden? Like, what's wrong with the garden? And why did Laurie try to kill Evander when they were young, which took place in the garden, by the way? And those are just to name a few of the very burning questions that I have that I need answers to. This story has me so enthralled. I am ensnared. The tragedy of these two boys has gripped my heart so hard already. And all of these unknowns has me just itching to pick this back up. The horror aspects have yet to kind of appear in this, other than some of the like humans being just terrible people. But I don't know, there is this constant feeling of like mystery and dread and paranoia, because that is what Evander is feeling, and he is so lost right now, and that is conveyed so well, and I feel what Evander is feeling. Needless to say, I am loving it so far. It has not disappointed, so fingers crossed that it continues to be phenomenal. Hello, friends. I had such a good birthday yesterday. We started the day off with going to one of my favorite independent bookstores, and I got quite a few books there. Then we went to another one of my favorite little coffee shops that is also a bookstore. So I'm going to do a little tiny book haul for you. And then I also got some delicious sushi and just spent the day with Sydney shopping. I also got some clothes that I desperately needed to get. So such a good day yesterday. But I wanted to pop in and show you the books that I got from both of our bookstore visits yesterday. And listen, before I show you the first books that I got, I know that I was not a huge fan of the first book, but with them being so cheap, I couldn't pass them up. So I got both Haunting and Hunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. If I do end up wanting to continue this series, it will be nice to have the actual physical copy, and I just couldn't pass them up for like $4 a piece. I also picked up the 7-Year Slip. I don't know a lot about this other than I've heard such good things, and it is a romance that involves some kind of like time travel. I am very intrigued to check this one out. I also picked up The Wedding People. I don't know if it actually won, but I do know it was nominated in the Goodreads Choice Awards last year. This is, I think, about a woman that goes to a wedding and she's like struggling mentally, but the bride actually like helps her through this time in her life. It's been a minute since I've read a really good just literary fiction, so I have high hopes for this one. The last thing I picked up from our first stop was Blackout. This is a collection of short stories focusing around young Black teen love during a blackout in New York City. This has been on my TBR for so long, so when I saw this, I had to nab it. And I couldn't leave empty-handed from the coffee shop bookstore that we visited next. I was so excited when I saw these editions. So one of them was 50% off because it had previously been owned, and there is a little bit of a rip in it, but I do not care. I got these beautiful editions of One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I read this duology this year and absolutely loved it. So when I saw these gorgeous editions, I could not pass them up. This one has a little bit of a tear, but hey, that is okay. I do not mind at all. I was so excited when I saw these, and I am so happy to add these gorgeous additions to my shelves. While we were at the coffee shop bookstore, I did bring along Hazelthorne, and I managed to get to page 226. I'm on chapter 21, and wow, the horror elements have definitely ramped up. The author's descriptions of these monsters are so vivid and beautiful, but like grotesque. It is so good. The botanical body horror is top notch. We are slowly starting to unravel these mysteries surrounding this estate, this family, and this garden. I am not sure what I was expecting to be going on here, but it was not this. I'm also really appreciating the autism representation in this. This is an Own Voices story, and you can tell that this subject means so much to the author. Evander is just constantly striving to feel like a normal person, and it is just heartbreaking to read about how wrong he feels. Some of the things that he is struggling with is his brain, like rioting against him. There is a beautiful quote in this that really like sums up how he just wants to be normal and his brain just doesn't work how he thinks that it should. It says, he wishes he wasn't like this, wishes he could stand even parallel to normal and be someone who fits next to those his age, who goes to school and kisses an appropriate amount of pretty people and isn't bothered by things like odd seams in his clothes or the very existence of socks. He wishes his brain moved in one direction, not a dozen, all at the same time, and that he didn't pull apart in a panic if even one thing goes wrong. I also loved this quote. It says, sometimes he just wants to crawl out of his own skin and peg it on a washing line to air out for a bit while he takes a long nap somewhere cool and dark. But those are not the sorts of things that he can explain out loud. I don't know, I just feel like you can really tell that this is something that the author also personally struggles with, and you can just feel it. But then there are other instances where it is really the people around him that are making him feel so much lesser than. He has been raised and really trained to be just small, quiet, obedient. But even though he is meek and really scared a lot of the times, like he is determined to get answers. And his sticking around has led to some revelations that I did not see coming. Revelations that change everything that Evander thought and we thought we knew about this property, about his guardian, about the garden, about the family, and most of all, about Evander himself. We still have so many unanswered questions, but I am loving just like the slow unraveling of this whole story and this mystery surrounding Evander and his past and this place I honestly cannot wait to get back into this and finish this up. I have about a little over 100 pages left, so I'm thinking that I should be able to finish this tonight, and I am so excited to get back into it. Hello, friends. I have finished Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews, and what a heart-pounding, beautiful ending. The last quarter of this was so suspenseful, so tense. The reveals and the resolutions were so great. Like, I loved this so much. Both Lori and Evander have been through so much, and reading about everything that they had to endure was just so freaking heartbreaking. This family was absolutely disgusting, despicable human beings. Some of Lori's relatives ended up coming in for what they said was to attend the funeral and to pay respects for Byron Lennox Hall, the guardian that passed away. But these people were just there to, like, they were vultures. They came there to scavenge. They came there to take advantage of whatever they could. This book definitely went in a strange, fantastical direction, but I absolutely loved it. I mean, the imagery in this, the atmosphere, the writing, the yearning, oh my gosh, the yearning, the creativity, the imagination, just outstanding. This was like such a gothic, melancholic read, and God, I ate it up. I think I am gonna land on a 4.5 star. I really loved this, but I don't know if it was just something maybe going on in my head while I was reading this, or if it was just kind of slow at parts, but I did notice that there were quite a few parts where my mind would kind of start to wander, and I would have to catch myself and like reread a paragraph. And I caught myself doing that quite a few times throughout this. But once I like snap back into it, I'm like, hey, pay attention, you know? I mean, I was loving it. And there were a couple of things towards the end that, I don't know, kind of confused me, didn't quite make sense. There was this instance of something that completely kind of contradicted something that happened the next couple chapters. So I don't know, just those few minuscule things made me bump it down a 1/2 star, but I still absolutely loved this so much. It was this gorgeous but brutal tale of these two lonely boys just finding their way back to each other. It was lovely, but horrific. I will say, I obviously did enjoy Don't Let the Forest In just a little bit more than this one, but I am not disappointed with how this went at all, and I will definitely be picking up anything C.G. Drew writes in the future. And I also forgot to mention that we went to Mochi Nut. I mean, I know you saw in the B-roll, but we went to Mochi Nut, and I've never been to Mochi Nut. We ended up not going to Voodoo Donut because we had spent the entire day in the car shopping. And Universal is about 35 minutes, depending on traffic, away from us. So we decided to stick around the house. And turns out we have a Mochi Nut right down the road. And oh my gosh, they were so good. So I had to rave about Mochi Nut for a moment because I totally forgot in my last update. Sydney and I are going to a little Friendsgiving get together tonight to play some board games. I'm so excited, but it is about 40 minutes away. So I think I'm gonna start Brigands and Bread Knives on the drive over. I am so excited to get back into Travis Baldry's world. Hello friends, I wanted to check in because I have started Brigands and Bread Knives, and it is, oh my gosh, it feels so nice to be back in this world, genuinely. It just feels like I am slipping on this well-worn, soft, fuzzy sweater. If you're not familiar with this series, this is a cozy fantasy where it is set in a high fantasy world, think Dungeons and Dragons, but with lower stake plot. Legends and Lattes is the first book in this series. This follows an orc named Viv. She is retiring from her adventuring career. She wants to settle down, and she decides to do that by opening a little coffee shop. And the second book, Bookshops and Bone Dust, follows a younger Viv. It's kind of like a prequel where she is still in her adventuring career, but she gets hurt. So she has to kind of lay low for a little bit and heal. And in this small town where she is doing that, she meets this ratkin named Firm who runs the local bookstore. And that is actually the character that we are following in Brigands and Bread Knives. Fern is kind of having the opposite turmoil than what we saw Viv face in the first book, Whereas Viv, after a life of fast-paced adventuring, she wanted a more peaceful, calm life, whereas Fern has lived a life of a bit of monotony. Not that she hasn't enjoyed running her bookshop, but that is really all she's ever known. And she is feeling a bit bored, a bit stagnant. She is feeling like she wants more purpose in her life, and she does want something, maybe a little more. She decides to try to combat this feeling. She is going to sell her bookstore, and she is going to move to Viv's small town and open another bookstore. She's hoping that, reconnecting with an old friend and some new scenery is going to be enough to kind of get her out of the slump that she's in and to find what she's looking for. But even Viv's delicious cinnamon rolls aren't enough to kind of quell this emptiness that she is feeling. It really sounds like she is just going through like this midlife crisis, really questioning her life and where it's headed and what she wants from it. And on top of feeling this like emptiness and restlessness, she's also feeling guilty because she feels like she's being so ungrateful that, Viv has welcomed her and helped her get her bookshop up and running and off the ground, but it's just not enough. Being in her feels a little bit leads to a sleepless night, and she ends up drinking a little bit too much, and she goes wandering through town, and she ends up in the back of a wagon of a world famous elf adventurer and her adorable little goblin prisoner. Astric is the stuff of ballads, of legends, of stories, which Fern has read most of. So she is very familiar with this kind of battle-hardened, centuries-old elf woman. And Zill is this adorable little mischievous goblin who doesn't seem to speak a lick of English, has a coat that has way too many pockets, and apparently is a hardened criminal because she has a huge bounty on her head. And that is what she is doing with Astric. I am already in love with this dynamic, like between our kind of like regular run-of-the-mill Fern, who is just looking for something more. And then we have Astric, who is very quiet, very reserved. She's very stoic. And then we have this little chaotic goblin. They are all just so unique and lovable in their own way. And I literally just want to hug every single one of them. Like, Travis Baldree does characters like no other. I'm not gonna lie, it's giving me a little bit of that like cute aggression, when you see like a cute dog or a cute cat and you just want to squeeze them. Like that's what this is giving me. And it's just so nice to be back with Fern. I really enjoyed her character in Bookshops and Bone Dust, and I am so looking forward to getting to follow her on this like journey of self-discovery. I love that we're kind of getting the flip side of the story of Legends and Lattes, but still feeling so similar in all of the things that I loved about it. I am just so happy to be back in Travis Baldree's world. This man is a talent. Like, not only does he write such magical, unique, fun, heartfelt characters, but he also narrates his own audiobooks, and he does such a good job. Like, his voices are phenomenal. I don't think this man gets enough credit for his narration. It's so good. I just cannot wait to see what kind of shenanigans and mischief our trio are going to get into, and I am having a great time. Happy Thanksgiving, friends. I am here to give you a little bit of an update before I go help out with dinner preparation. I am about 65% of the way through Brigands and Bread Knives, and I'm just having such a fun time with this. This one honestly does have a bit more action than the other two have had, which I've been really enjoying. We're following our trio on the road as Astric is trying to get Zill to wherever she's going to turn in her bounty, and the trek has not been easy so far. But I mean, when you're traveling with the territory's most famous adventurer, I mean, you're bound to run into some trouble. It is still a lower action, cozy fantasy for sure, but Travis Baldree's complex characters and relationships and humor do such a good job at keeping you engaged even through some of the more slice of life mundane sections of the story. His lighthearted and fun tone is so well balanced with the deeper meanings and kind of the struggles that the characters are going through. Like, it is light and fun, but it also like hits some deep notes. I was also pretty impressed with some of the fight scenes and the action sequences. There were a little bit of that sprinkled into the first and second book, but I feel like this one, he really stepped up his game in the action and the battles, and it's been really well done. The strategy, the way their bodies are moving, how it's described, I've really enjoyed it. It feels like I'm watching a really thought out, well done like Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and I am just having such a good time. I'm loving seeing all three of these characters like really bond and grow closer together. Like, the characters and the relationships are really where Travis Baldree shines, and this is no exception. I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of missing Fern's little griffin, I think it's called. It's like a little pug bird thing animal, and I'm kind of missing Pot Roast because he was such an adorable character in Bookshops and Bone Dust. And when Fern got into the carriage of Astric, you know, she left the dog behind. She wasn't expecting to leave. So I do kind of miss that little character because he was such an integral part of like Fern's character and Fern's story. But I don't know, I feel like maybe it would have been a little too much with the mischievous little goblin and a little animal to take care of. But I honestly have no complaints with the dynamics that we're getting. That's just a little side note that I do kind of miss the animal companion. Although there was a little animal companion for a hot second that the goblin kind of corralled into being its pet, and hilarious. Like, so good. I think this is the kind of story that you don't want to know too much about the plot because it really is just about the journey and following these characters. And I am absolutely loving my time with them. So I'm going to go help Sydney with dinner and desserts, and we are just going to have a family-filled, cozy, lovely Thanksgiving. I hope you do as well. Hello, friends. I have finished Brigands and Bread Knives by Travis Baldree, and this was such a cute, wholesome book. I loved Fern's character arc that we got in this, her really figuring out what she needed and who she wanted to be now that book selling kind of wasn't filling her cup anymore. She spent so long consuming and being a bystander that she really just wanted to be the main character of her own story. You know, she was tired of being the side character. She wanted to be the one doing the creating and the experiencing. And I just loved that for her. I love to see it. Our sweet, stoic, quiet elf Astric also really came out of her shell, which I also loved to see. And don't even get me started on Zill. Like, this little goblin, I was obsessed. I looked on Travis Baldree's website because I know sometimes he does have free short stories that you can read, and he has a short story all about Zill, our little chaotic goblin, and I have to immediately go on there and read it. Like, I am in dire need of more content revolving around this little goblin Zill. I will say I did miss the romance in this one. Our previous two, Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust, did kind of have, it wasn't a main plot device, but it was a pretty heavily featured side plot of romance, and we did not get any of that in this book, which I did miss. I really did enjoy the themes of the self-discovery and friendship that we got in this, and Travis Baldree's characters are always just such a delight. Whether they be romantic or platonic, his characters are always like grade A, so well done. This one wasn't quite the 5-star that the other two have been for me, but I still had such a great time with it. I still loved this so much. I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars, and I will still absolutely be picking up every single word that Travis Baldree graces us with. Oh my gosh, also, this is one of the new things that I got on my birthday excursion, and it is so soft. Like, I am obsessed. I cannot describe to you the level of comfort I feel in this. It is so soft. It is so cozy. And I didn't realize this until I got home and put it on, but it's got freaking thumb holes. I was so excited when I saw this, like, embarrassingly excited that it has thumb holes. I mean, not that I'm going to use them all the time, but the fact that they're there, so cool. I got a whole like yoga set in this color. I've been obsessed with green lately. Like, obviously, Sydney got me a Stanley cup for my birthday as well. And he got me this pistachio because I was looking at it at the store last time we were there and it was on like a really good sale. And yeah, I've just been obsessed with green lately, mint and olive to be specific. But I got a whole yoga outfit that is this color and I love it. Anywho, so even though I didn't get any new 5 stars out of this, I absolutely cannot complain with getting 3 4.5 stars. Like, are you kidding me? I am overjoyed. What a great birthday week. I got to spend some nice quality time with Sydney and my family. I got to eat some delicious food and I got to read some amazing books. What a time to be alive. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books or if you plan to. Or if you want to just let me know that you were here and say hi, leave me some confetti party popper emojis in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. I hope you are having an amazing day, night, afternoon, wherever you are. I hope you are loving what you are reading lately. Stay safe out there, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye, friends.